Avantra's RUNJS custom check is one of the most powerful tools available to you within your Avantra master server. It allows you to design and deploy your own custom logic for checks within your landscape. In this Mastering Avantra video, we're going to show you how to design and deploy your first Avantra custom checks within your landscape. What is a RUNJS custom check? Well, it is a type of Avantra custom check that allows you to design and create your own check logic. It is code-based, so it's written in JavaScript, and having some background in JavaScript is very useful at this point. The code itself is executed remotely on the managed host within the Avantra agent, and it allows you to interact with the operating system of the agent, the SAP systems that might be configured there, any databases, and also third-party web services. You start off by designing, defining, and distributing your RUNJS custom check within your Avantra master server. It is then securely communicated to your chosen managed host, and it is executed using that host's check engine within the Avantra agent. The agent provides the plugins for accessing the operating system, the SAP system, the databases, or even those third-party HTTP endpoints that I mentioned earlier. So why don't we go ahead and get started and define our first Avantra custom check. So here I am within my Avantra system, and if I go to Systems and Servers, we will see that I have one SAP, or non-SAP in this case, just an absolute server running Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8, and we're going to deploy a number of custom checks onto this host. Now, so let's get started. So we pop into the configuration menu and we go to our custom check area. Now here you can see I have a number of custom checks already configured. They're part of our ACE functionality, which is our custom check example code, which you can find today at bit.ly/Avantra-cc. So that's bit.ly/Avantra-cc. That is our publicly accessible GitHub repository for accessing all of our custom examples to help you get started. So today I'm going to start with a very clear and obvious example of Hello World. Any coders among you will know that Hello World is the first thing you attempt when you're doing coding in a new language, and that's essentially what we're doing today. So I'm going to select New up the top left-hand corner, and I'm going to go for All, and I'm going to search for RUNJS. So RUNJS is the type of custom check that we're focused on today. And it's going to run a script and evaluate SAP RFC functions, database queries, or OS commands. So we select our customer. In this case, for me, it's just Mastering Avantra. I'm going to be performing this check on the server. So I can perform it on the server, on the SAP instance, the SAP system, the database, or even a cloud service. But in this case, I'm going to go for server. And I'm going to give it a name. So I'm going to say MA for Mastering Avantra, Hello World, like this. And I'm going to hit create. Now, this is the main screen where you can define and write your custom check RUNJS. But I always start by making it a bit bigger. So if you hit the pin up here, it brings it into its own tab and kind of gives you a full screen view over what you're working on. It's always good hygiene to give yourself a good description. So this is my first custom RUNJS custom check. Hello World. So I have two types of execution really. I have real-time monitoring and daily. Daily being that this will be performed once a day, and that might be what you're looking for. Real-time monitoring is where you can say, no, I want this checked every 1, 2, 5, 10, 15 minutes. The default here is 5 minutes. So if you leave it blank, it'll default to 5. Actually, I'm going to put this to 2 for this case. Next, you need to define where do you want this to actually execute. So here we use a system selector. For those unfamiliar, system selectors are logical groups of systems where you might say, okay, I want a group that is all of my Unix-based servers, or all my Windows-based servers, or all systems that are running a particular version of Linux, or the list is kind of endless there. You get the point. So I'm going to select a selector I had already previously done, which is all my production Red Hat Enterprise Linux servers. And if I hit test, we'll see that it's actually just going to go from my one server, because I only have one configured in this system. So that's fine. Now we get to the fun part. Now we're actually going to write our script. So what do? It's a big blank space. How do I go and get started? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste in an example I had earlier, and we're going to go through it line by line, and we can build on top of it as we go. So the first thing is, personally, as a long-time coder, I always start by setting some constants, setting some version numbers, so I can kind of keep track of what I'm running and what version I'm running. So here I just have a constant, that means it'll never change, called ccname, which is my custom check name. And here I call it a_6 hello world. You'll actually find this exact example in our public repository that I mentioned earlier of sample code at bit.ly/avantra-cc. So here I have ace basics hello world, ace standing for Avantra custom check example. And the custom check version is 1.0. We update these periodically if we find better ways of doing things or if there's bugs that other people have found. Next, I've defined a function. Now, if you're unfamiliar with JavaScript, this might seem a little bit scary to you, so I highly recommend you spend some time getting to grips with some of the basics of JavaScript. If you've done that, if you've written, web JavaScript before, you'll recognize this, or if you're a Node aficionado, then absolutely this will all seem completely normal to you. Here I've just a little function that's called say hello, and you see here down here I'm actually calling the function. Here I'm doing two very simple things. I'm saying check.message, so that's the output message for this check. My first Avantra custom check, hello world, exclamation mark, very important. And then finally, I'm setting the check status to OK. If you're familiar with Avantra, there's different types of check statuses. There's OK, there's warning, and there's critical. So in this case, I'm just going OK. And OK in this case is a built-in defined constant that you can use within your script. Also, check is also defined already, so you don't need to worry about initializing it or any of that. And then finally, we say hello. Now, we have other options down here as well, which is report execution time. If we want to, we can create a service name to record whether it's available or not. So that way, then we can use it in composite checks and other things. And also, we can say, if it's a warning, do we report the service as available or not? So these are just some powerful additional ones, which we don't need to worry about here. We can cover them in another session. Okay, I'm pretty happy with this. Let's hit apply. And it says, okay, the new created custom check is not active. Do you want to activate it? And that means that it'll start to execute on the remote agents we selected earlier. So I'm going to select yes. And just to speed things up for the sake of the demo, I'm going to manually send it to the agent. And this button basically pushes any updates we've made to our code out to our servers that will be doing the execution. So I'm sending it to the one server I've configured, hit send, and I'll get some green messages up in the top right-hand corner here. Now, if I pop back over to servers and we go into the server we've sent it to, and I go into checks, you'll see I have a number of checks here that are configured. But if I scroll down, I'll find MA Hello World. There it is. It's already been sent to the agent. The agent has executed the check and sent the results back to our Avantra master server. And if I click in, it was last checked 27 seconds ago. Cycle time is 2 minutes. And here's the output. So it's okay, it's green. That's why it's coming out as green. And we have a message which says, my first Avantra custom check. Hello world. Fantastic. So what we've done there is we have designed and developed and deployed our first Avantra RUNJS custom check. Nice and simple. The other example I want to show today is quite similar, but I want to take it a step further. I want to interact with one of those underlying objects I mentioned earlier. If you remember, I said you could interact with the operating system, with any SAP systems, databases, or HTTP endpoints. So in this case, I want to interact with the operating system, and I just want to perform a command on the operating system. For anybody who uses Unix a lot, the command ls is pretty much one of the simple ones out there, or we could even pick who am I, whatever we want to do. It's a nice simple command, and I'm going to put the output of that command onto the screen. So let's go back to custom checks. I'm going to close the one we had earlier, and I'm going to create a new custom check. And I'm going to search for RUNJS again. and I'm going to execute it on the server because I'm going for the operating system, and I'm going to say MA who am I, just like that. So my custom check is called MA underscore who am I, because let's go for that command. A simple custom check to verify who is the user the agent is operating as. Now that's a very important point. So I'm executing a command on the underlying operating system. Who am I executing as? Well, the simple answer here is you're executing as the user that runs the Avantra agent. So whatever permissions the Avantra service user has that's running the agent, that's the permissions that will be available to you. Now that's something to really keep in mind, because if you're doing system hardening and you're doing checks on audit logs, or you're verifying IP setups, or whatever the case may be, you need to make sure that the Avantra service user running the agent has the permissions to do what you need to do. So that's something just to keep in mind. It adds a bit of complexity, but it's very important. Okay, I'm just going to make this bigger again using the pin that we showed earlier. I'm going to make it real-time monitoring every 2 minutes. And I'm going to do it on all the production Red Hat Enterprise Linux servers that I showed earlier. Now, here I have another piece of sample code. Again, this is available within our custom check repository. Bit.ly, I'll keep repeating it, bit.ly/Avantra-cc. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in the sample code here. So this one looks a little bit more complicated, but the structure is the same. So the first thing is I always start off by giving it a name and giving it a version. One of the reasons I do this as well is in one of the other videos, I will show that I like to do a little bit of logging, or have the ability to switch on logging within my custom checks, especially my more complex ones. And it can be very useful there to output the name and version of the custom check that you're using. And so this can be quite important from that respect. So here I have a function defined. The function here is called ls. In this example, I was doing an ls on the /opt directory, and then I was processing the result. We're going to change this. Okay, so I'm going to say that the function is who am I, and it's not going to take an argument. And I can get rid of all this because I was doing it a specific way the last time. And I'm going to do who am I as the command. So let me quickly run through what I'm doing here. I'm accessing the standard object OS. So that's a standard object that the Avantra agent will make available to you. And the command here is .exec. So it's execute. And then you provide the command as a string. So return, so throw back from the function, the output of os.execute the command who am I. So I'm going to change this to who am I result is equal to who am I, and I don't need an argument. So var who am I result is equal to who am I. Now, I'm just going to change this here. And yeah, I'll get rid of this comment for now. It's just, we'll put it back in later. I'm all for comments, just to be clear. So we'll say execute, apparently I can't spell, the who am I command on the OS. So now we get to an if statement. So if who am I result dot exit code. Okay, so this is another standard piece of functionality that we offer based on the result of the command you ran. If the exit code of who am I is 0, 0 being the standard for successful, it's the standard Unix shell exit code for your program will be passed to this variable. So if the exit code is 0, then we're good. So check.status is equal to OK. So we set the output of the check to be OK. And we say, we'll change it to currently logged in user is like this. Now, if the check is not 0, then something's gone wrong. So let's set it to warning and we say command failed. And then finally, we add the command text output, whether it's an error or it's valid. So it's valid for both of these. We say check.message is equal to check.message plus the output. So I'll say who am I result dot out like that. So let's run through this one more time. So I have the function which executes the command who am I on the underlying operating system. So the first thing I do is I run that command and I take its result into the variable who am I result. I then verify what was the exit code of the command. If it was 0, everything was successful. and we set the check status to be okay, and we just add in some extra text in the check message. The currently logged in user is. The /n here is just new line, just for a little bit of formatting. If the exit code is not 0, i.e. there was an error, then we set the check status to warning, and we set the message to command failed. And then finally, we append, and that's what we're doing here, saying check message is equal to the contents of check message plus the output of the who am I result. And that's it. So once I'm happy, I'm going to say apply, like yes, and I'm going to send to the agent. Again, and we should see some green up in the top right hand corner as it communicates. That might take a little longer depending on your network topology and your landscape. Like if you're going through gateway agents or anything like that, that might take a little bit longer. But for us, it's pretty quick here. It's all happening on the one host. So I'm going to go back into the server and into checks. Now let's go down. We're looking for MA. MA, where are we? Okay, MI, who am I? The currently logged in user is Avantra. Surprise, surprise, the service user that I'm using on this particular agent is the service user called Avantra. So the currently logged in user is Avantra and everything's cool. Now, let's make a deliberate mistake here. Let's go back and say, who am I 1? So here what I'm doing is I'm changing the name of the command I'm trying to execute on the underlying OS to be who am I 1. Now this should fail because there is no command, who am I 1. So let's apply that and send the change to the agent. That's it. Okay, so it's sent across. Now, if I come back in here, it takes a few minutes for the execution to happen. And you can tell this by where it says last checked. So last checked 49 seconds ago. If I keep refreshing, oh, now it's gone to 12 seconds ago. So we've had an update. So the first thing you'll notice is everything went orange because it went to warning status as per our custom code. It says command failed, bin sh who am I 1, command not found. So you can see there immediately you're starting to get some really good context and really good visibility into what's happening during the execution of your check. And you can choose what to output or not to output to the console here based on what happened within your custom check. So that's it. You've now seen an Avantra custom check developed from scratch. First of all, doing a basic hello world. And the second one doing a who am I command to see who the logged in user is. I mean, these are very simple examples, but when you start to build them up and daisy chain a few things together, it becomes incredibly powerful within your landscape management. If you want to see more, please check out the rest of our Mastering Avantra videos on our YouTube channel. Or if you want to see some more custom check examples, go to that bit.ly link, bit.ly/Avantra-cc. And there you'll be able to see all of our Avantra custom check examples that we make available today. Happy coding!